Okay, the next one, uh, industry. We already discussed it now, but today I'm going to look it from another angle and explain that there are different companies in the same industry, but their business structure is really, really different. And we analyzed Course. Course was more like hard, like even it was in the apparel industry, but it was hard lines. It was whereas here we mostly looking at the soft lines because it, like Heinz brands, it's mostly like clothes. Um, First of all, it's mixed with other industry products, and if you look at index like ETF, which we're going to look later, it represents different companies from apparel industry, soft line, hard lines, etc., etc. So, and I presume you understand that if people spend less money, they spend less money for shoes, and they spend less money for as well. So it's like those sectors would be affected together in a similar way. So that's a lot of companies which are selling both products. Sometimes it's very difficult to distinguish which industry it's kind of which industry it represents. Okay, now this type of industry is quite simple to understand. Okay, and simple understand the structure of the business. If you research it once, after that it's not difficult to follow it. Other industries, it's quite complicated to understand the way the product, the way they structure their like funnel, sales funnel, etc., etc. Whereas this specific industry quite simple. Majority of companies they follow business cycle, and this is very important to know because that's actually influence the price of the stock a lot. Because if people believe that okay, retail companies are all shit, so what do? They start selling all retailers, and if they believe retailers are good, they start buying all retailers. And we're going to compare our company today with some other retailers which you probably already analyzed, and you know some of them, but you will see really discrepancies there because the earnings are going up, but the price is going down. Okay. Now, another time, this high competition, and competition comes here not only from other big companies, but now competition comes from small individuals which are selling clothes, shoes, like any retail items through different platforms, online platforms. The biggest probably Amazon, but there are others like eBay, and every country has their own platform, and also people like build up their own websites. I can build it there. But the thing is here, what is happening right now, majority of those retailers, majority of those companies, they are moving to this area as well. And if you look at their annual reports, you will see that more and more sales come from online part of the business. And all those small competitors, like individuals, they're now pushed back. And when you look at this, especially if you run online business, for you it would be much easier to understand that when the huge company like Nike or like Heinz brand, they have millions of dollars for marketing. They can market much better than any individual, and as a result the situation happens like that. So people with a very low budget, they stay somewhere outside, and when people searching something to buy, they never see them. You can compare it like a small retail shop somewhere and like 100 kilometers from Sydney in some small village, or maybe somewhere on the road where there is no traffic whatsoever. Yes, the rent would be very cheap there, but traffic will be even less. So, and people would be barely making money despite all these low expenses. Whereas some companies are located in Westfield and CBD, they have huge traffic, huge rent, but they can afford it because their business structure is built in a way that they can make a profit by turning a huge volume, okay, of the product. So a similar situation right now happens in online area where companies start competing and putting a lot of money in advertisement. So, and especially if you're already advertising some kind of business, you understand that like Google AdWords, they're very expensive right now, and in order to compete with the big companies, it's quite challenging. Okay, now if you run offline business, they have very high level of expenses, and we already discussed about that. That some companies they can adjust the expense level very quickly, whereas this type of industry is cannot do that, because if they signed the lease for retail premises for 5 years, probably they're stuck with that. They have to keep it, and they cannot change the lease terms until this period is expired. So if there is a certain seasonality of sales, your expense level stays exactly the same. Okay, so if you keep the rent, if you doesn't really matter if you had like 20 customers in your shop or 200 customers in your shop, you still have to pay certain amount of members, like staff who has to be in the shop, regardless if you have clients or not clients. So that's why the higher level of expenses there as well. And when the prices are going down on the stock, your margin going down, your profitability in going down, expenses they're not going down, they stay the same. Another thing which is now probably developing fast and fast, it's very low loyalty of customers, especially familiar brands. But even if you're buying familiar brands, it's quite huge choice of quality brands right now. And when girls, even like girls, they more probably tend to stay with the same brand than boys. But if you go, you probably choose different companies. If you want to buy Christmas dress, you probably go to 5, 6 brands, and you look at them different dresses, and then you choose. And the next time you buy the next Christmas dress, like for Christmas party, you might choose another company. So that's why people more and more kind of become not that loyal to any specific brand. Okay, but of course it probably depends on the person as well. But that's what's happening. Now, when we are going to discuss now this company Heinz brand, I'm going to show you that their business cycle and business structure is a bit different from other companies which are included in this industry, at least the companies which were already analyzed previously. And the reason for that probably affected their profitability, which they have constantly. Okay, I don't know who knows these brands, who can tell them that who bought some products from these companies.